英語聞き流しリスニング、英語テキストと MP3 ダウンロード、その他の物語はホームページからお聞きいただけます。88thpp.com 88thpp.com
I spent my teenage life at a privileged Catholic school. Most students came from wealthy families and some were famous. As a farmer's daughter, I belonged to the few non-wealthy students. I thought a farming family was regarded as poor and unsophisticated in this school, and tried to hide the fact that I came from one as much as I could. Every time I submitted the paper on which the parents' occupation should be stated, I put my thumb right on the word farming so that other students didn't see it. There was a famous long-standing chain of high-end chestnut snack stores in the city which chain name was the same as my last name, and one day, a student casually said to me, "Your family owns the chain, doesn't it?" While the chain and I happened to share the same name, we actually had no relation. But she sounded so sure as if everyone believed so. It was 3 years since I had entered the school and my concealing operation might have worked. It was possible that no one besides my close friends knew I came from a farming family. I felt confident I looked cool and sophisticated enough for them to think I came from that wealthy family. Hoping their misunderstanding would last, I didn't deny strongly and gave her an ambiguous reply. When I told my mother about it at home, she was very pleased and instructed me to keep them believing that way. I was walking toward the bus stop with my close friend after school one afternoon. When I cracked her up with my jokes and moves as usual, she said laughing, "You look like a peasant." And the next moment, she gasped and added, "I'm sorry." I wouldn't have cared if she had kept laughing, but her serious apology offended me. She remembered I was a farmer's daughter and thought her comment was inappropriate. I realized reference to a farming business required an apology, which meant she looked down on it. By the time I was a senior, I had grown weary of being a class clown just to be popular. I had tried everything to be cool but become doubtful if it was right to act someone else who wasn't real me. For seniors, the teacher asked attendance to a table manners class at a gorgeous restaurant one by one. Since some students were busy preparing for the entrance examination of universities and colleges, they were allowed to opt out of the class. I was one of them, and when my classmate behind me heard me answer not coming, she started giggling. Then she said to me, "Even though your family is a farmer, you'd better learn table manners." The girl next to her was also giggling and said, "That's what we shouldn't tell her." It was a wake-up call. All those years everybody had known my family was a farmer and laughed at me inside while I pretended to be cool. What I had been doing so hard for years was nothing. Since that day, I stopped acting a class clown and returned to my true quiet self. A couple of days later, in a class journal that all students would read, I wrote, "I'm a farmer's daughter. Yet, I've been to a high-class restaurant, and I do know table manners." There is a lake a few miles away from my new apartment, and I decided to go there for the first time. The local bus to the lake was surprisingly old-fashioned and worn out. It jolted along a mountain road, ascending higher and higher. The lake lay at the foot of the mountain, surrounded by the fresh green woods. Although I had expected it to be a popular recreation place for locals, it was quite lonely and quiet with only a couple of small spots to eat and shop. One of them was an Italian restaurant, and I had an expensive lunch there as a sole customer. The directory showed that there was a walk around the lake and I tried it. It got steeper and rougher as I walked on, as if I was climbing a mountain. The walk looked exactly like the one in my recurring nightmare, in which I walked along an ever-steepening path and ended up tumbling down the slope every time. I crawled along the walk on all fours so as not to tumble down. Fighting off a fear of heights, I finally got to a suspension bridge over the lake, and the view of the lake from there was breathtaking. On my way home, I mistook the road for the bus stop, and walked all the way home. It took 90 minutes and I was dead on my feet.
Audiobooks by Hidemi Woods. First audiobook, Japanese Dream by Hidemi Woods on sale at online stores or apps. Second audiobook, My Social Distancing and Naked Spa in Japan by Hidemi Woods on sale at online stores or apps. Apple Books, Audible, Google Play, Nook Audiobooks, 43 available distributors in total.
英語聞き流しリスニング、英語テキストと MP3 ダウンロード、その他の物語はホームページからお聞きいただけます。88thpp.com 88thpp.com